I still remember the moment I walked out of that house and shut the door behind me. The cold air hit my face, but it wasn't the weather that made me shiver. My heart was racing. My hands were shaking. And the only thing I carried with me was the truth I had finally uncovered. For years, I truly believed my family loved me. I believed every word they ever spoke to me, every rule they placed on my shoulders, every sacrifice they claimed they made, every warning that they were only protecting me. But that night, everything shattered. It didn't happen slowly. It didn't happen gently. It hit me like a storm, fast, loud, and impossible to ignore. One moment, I was living my normal, quiet life. And the next, I was standing inside a nightmare wearing my family's faces. My name is Aiden. And this is the story of how I escaped the lies my own family built around me. A story of betrayal, manipulation, and the moment I finally decided I wouldn't live in their shadow anymore. It started on a Sunday morning. A calm day, a safe day. The kind where sunlight usually filled the house and everyone moved slowly, peacefully. But not that day. That morning, I woke up to the sound of my mother shouting downstairs. Her voice cut through the air, sharp, panicked. Not unusual. But what was unusual was hearing my name inside the anger. He doesn't need to know. He'll ruin everything if he finds out. My heart dropped straight into my stomach. I wasn't supposed to hear that. I wasn't supposed to hear any of what came next. Because my mother wasn't alone. My father was there. My aunt was there. And my older brother, Liam, the one I trusted most, was whispering like he was guarding a secret that could burn the whole house down. I crept down the stairs slowly, step by step, holding my breath as their voices grew sharper, clearer, more dangerous. They were talking about me, deciding things for me, planning things behind my back, plans that were never meant to reach my ears. Then I heard my father say, "We just need to keep it hidden until after the deal. Then he can find out." Find out what? A chill ran through me. Whatever it was big, bigger than anything they had ever kept from me. And in that moment, standing halfway down the stairs, listening to the people I loved most, I felt my entire world crack open. My family was not who I thought they were. And I was about to uncover a truth they spent years burying. To understand how shocking everything was, you need to know what my life looked like before. The lies fell apart. From the outside, my family looked perfect, almost picture perfect. My mother was warm, gentle, always smiling whenever people were around. She had this way of making everyone feel welcome, like our home was the safest place on earth. My father, well, he was respected. A businessman everyone admired. People would shake his hand with this look of pride, like they were honored just to know him. And Liam, my brother, he was the golden child, the star, the one everyone praised, supported, and bragged about. Then there was me, quiet, responsible, the easy one, the one who followed the rules, did everything right, never argued, never fought back, never asked for anything. My parents loved introducing me to their friends with that same line every single time. Aiden never complains. He's the easy one. I used to smile when they said that. I thought it was a compliment. I didn't realize, at least not back then, what it truly meant. I was easy to control. Growing up, my life wasn't filled with choices, it was filled with instructions. Study this. Don't join that club. Don't hang out with those kids. Focus on your future. Don't ask questions. Trust your brother. Do what we say. Every rule ended with the same sentence. We know what's best for you, and I believed them. Because that's what children do. They trust the people who raise them. They assume love means honesty. But as I got older, the cracks started to show. Why wasn't I allowed to see certain documents or family papers? Why did my parents take control of every penny I earned even after I turned 18? Why did they step in whenever I tried to make even the smallest decision for myself? Anytime I questioned something, they shut me down. You're too young. You don't understand. Do as we say. And the strangest part? They kept me completely blind to our finances. I didn't know how much money we had, where it came from, what my father actually did behind the scenes. Whenever I asked, my mother would smile and say, "Aiden, don't worry about stressful things. We'll take care of everything. Just focus on school." But I wasn't blind. I saw the expensive cars, the sudden new properties, the long business trips, the way people whispered about my father, calling him the man with the plan. There were secrets. There were deals. There were stories that didn't match the reality I lived in. And every time I got too close to the truth, my mother would gently pull me back with a hug and whisper, You worry too much. We'll protect you forever. I never realized that sometimes the people who claim to protect you are the same ones quietly keeping you prisoner. After overhearing my family that morning, I knew something was deeply wrong. But I didn't know about how deep it went. So I started paying attention, listening, observing, watching every move they made. And what I discovered changed everything. A few days after the argument, I walked into my father's office while he wasn't home. I wasn't breaking in. The door was open, almost like it was inviting me. Like whatever was inside had been waiting for me to find it. Inside, papers were scattered across his desk. Contracts, agreements, letters with my name printed at the top. But one document in particular made my blood run cold. A legal form, a transfer agreement, and right next to my printed name was a signature. My signature. Except I had never signed anything like that in my entire life. My stomach twisted. My mind went blank. My parents had forged my signature. Not once, not twice, but on multiple documents. With trembling hands, I dug deeper into the stack of papers. And that's when I found the real betrayal. My father had transferred a large portion of his assets under my name. But it wasn't a gift. It wasn't trust. It wasn't love. It was a shield, a cover, a way to hide money under my identity so he wouldn't get caught in whatever shady business he was involved in. Suddenly everything made sense. Why they controlled my life so tightly. Why every decision I made had to be approved. Why they always treated me like I was fragile, incapable, too soft. I wasn't part of the family. I was the family's escape plan, their backup, their insurance policy. And the worst part? Liam, my brother, the one I admired, the one I trusted more than anyone, knew everything. I found texts between him and my father. Don't worry, Aiden won't question anything. He's too soft. He'll sign whatever we put in front of him. My hands shook with anger. Betrayal surged through me like fire. The people who raised me, the people who claimed to love me, had been using me as a human shield. I wasn't a son. I was a tool. And for the first time in my life, a new thought entered my mind. I needed to get out. Not quietly. Not gently. Not with the obedience they expected. If they spent years manipulating me, then I was going to make sure the truth destroyed the lies they built. Things exploded faster than I expected. A week after discovering the forged documents, I decided to confront my parents. No yelling. No accusations. No dramatic speeches. I simply walked into the living room, placed the papers on the table, and asked, "What is this?" My father's face drained of color. My mother went completely still. Liam stepped back as if I had caught him red-handed. For a full 5 seconds, no one breathed. Then my father forced a shaky smile. "Aiden, you're misunderstanding. These documents are complicated. I can explain." I didn't sign them. The room shifted. My father's smile vanished. My mother's lips trembled. Liam's eyes widened like he'd just seen everything fall apart. "Aiden, listen," my mother whispered, reaching for softness she didn't deserve. "It's not what you think. Your father just needed help. This was for the family. You're part of us." But I wasn't the obedient son they thought I still was. Not after reading those messages. Not after learning how they used my name like a shield. "You used my identity," I said calmly. "You forged my signature. You lied to me for years. My father slammed his hand on the table. "That's enough." I flinched not from fear but from shock. His voice wasn't filled with anger. It was filled with fear. He looked at me like I was the danger, like I now had the power to destroy everything he'd built. And that's when the real betrayal began. No apologies. No remorse. No attempt to explain. Instead, they turned everything on me. "You should have trusted us!" my mother cried. "You ruined everything," Liam snapped, pointing at me like I was the problem. "You had one job," my father growled. "One simple job, stay quiet and let us handle things." I stared at them, stunned. They weren't sorry I found out. They were furious I caught them. "Do you think anyone will believe you?" my father said, his voice icy. "You're naive, emotional, and you have no proof." They cornered me in words, in lies, in manipulation. Gaslighting me. Twisting reality. Trying to break my confidence piece by piece. But with every attack, something inside me hardened. For the first time, I saw them clearly. My family, the people I had trusted with everything, would rather destroy me than admit the truth. That was the moment the last piece of my innocence shattered. I wasn't staying another day in that house. If they wanted to protect their lies, They were about to face the one thing they never expected. Me fighting back. I didn't run away immediately. I didn't scream. I didn't break down. I didn't even argue. I played along. For the next 2 weeks, I became the obedient son again. Quiet. Polite. Unquestioning. Exactly what they expected. And during those 2 weeks, I built a plan to expose the truth, a plan to take back my identity, a plan to break free from their control forever. Step 1 was gathering evidence. I copied every forged document, every contract, every email filled with lies, every message where they discussed me like I was property. I took photos, screenshots, backed everything, up on multiple drives and cloud accounts, places they would never think to look. Step 2 was taking back my name. I visited a lawyer, quietly, privately, without leaving a trace. I explained everything. Not with tears, not with anger, just facts. He read through the documents slowly, carefully. Then he looked at me and said, "Aiden, what they did is illegal. You have a strong case." That one sentence felt like oxygen. For the first time in my life, someone wasn't telling me to stay quiet. Someone believed me. Step 3 was the hardest, separating myself emotionally. For years, my family trained me to feel guilty, to apologize first, to doubt myself, to accept blame for things that weren't my fault. But now, if I wanted my freedom, I had to detach. I had to let go of the idea that they were protecting me. I had to face the truth. Sometimes the people you love the most are the ones who bury you the deepest. Step 4 was preparation. Not for a fight. Not for yelling. My revenge wasn't loud. It was quiet. Strategic. Sharp enough to cut without raising my voice. I waited until the morning my father had a major meeting with his investors. The same men he was so desperate to impress. The same men he lied to using my identity as his shield. My family was dressed, stressed, and rushing around when I walked into the living room with a folder in my hand. My father snapped, "What are you doing?" "We're leaving, I know," I said. "That's why I'm here." My voice was steady. My hands were still. For the first time in my life, I felt powerful. My mother's face tightened. Liam stared at the folder like it might explode. "What is that?" she whispered. "Everything you tried to hide from me," I said, "and everything the world is about to see." Their expressions changed instantly. Fear. Recognition. Loss of control. They finally understood. I wasn't the quiet one anymore. I was the storm they created, and I was done being silent. The moment I opened the folder, the atmosphere in the room shifted. Sharp, cold, electric. My father took a step toward me. "Aiden, stop. We can talk about this later." "No," I said, "we're talking about it now." I placed every paper on the table one by one. Forged signatures, illegal transfers, false statements tied to my identity. My mother covered her mouth with trembling hands. Liam let out a low curse. My father's expression turned blank. The dangerous kind of blank. "You wouldn't dare," he whispered. "I already did," I replied. "I sent copies to the lawyer. And to the investors." The entire room froze. My father exploded. "You insane child. Do you know what you've done? You've destroyed us." I looked at him, calm in a way I'd never been before. "No," I said. "You destroyed yourselves the moment you stopped seeing me as family and started using me as a shield." My mother broke into tears. "Aiden, please. We did this for you." "For me?" I let out a dry, tired laugh. "If this was for me, why hide it? Why lie? Why forge my name like I didn't matter?" Liam marched forward, eyes full of anger. "You're ruining Dad's work. You're ruining everything." "No, Liam," I said quietly. "I'm saving myself from everything you built on lies." For the first time, he had no comeback. My father slammed his hand on the table. "You think anyone will believe you? You think you can win? You're just a kid." I met his glare without flinching. "Maybe. But I'm a kid who has proof." Silence. Heavy. Sharp. Unavoidable. Just then, his phone buzzed. He glanced at the screen, and the color drained from his face. A message from the investors. They wanted answers. They wanted the truth. They wanted a meeting, and they wanted me present. My mother stumbled toward me, grabbing my arm like I was slipping away forever. "Aiden, please! We can fix this. We're family." I gently pulled my arm free. "No," I said softly. "Family doesn't lie for years. Family doesn't trap you. Family doesn't use your name as a hiding place." My father sank into a chair, defeated. Liam stared at the floor, ashamed. My mother cried helplessly. I picked up the folder, took a slow breath, and walked toward the door. No one tried to stop me. No one even moved. Because they finally understood. I wasn't running away. I was ending the world of lies they had built around me. The investors' meeting happened the next morning. I walked in alone. No parents. No brother. Just me, finally standing on my own. The room went silent when I sat down, but no one looked angry. No one looked disappointed. They simply waited. So I told them everything. I showed them every forged signature, every illegal transfer, every message proving I never agreed to any of it. They listened. Really listened. And when I finished, there was no judgment in their eyes, only relief. Because my father's lies didn't just put me at risk, they could have dragged them down with him. After the meeting, one of the senior investors placed a firm hand on my shoulder. "You did the right thing," he said. "It takes courage to stand up to your own family." For the first time in years, I felt seen. I felt heard. I felt like I existed not as a tool, not as a shield, but as a person. The aftermath hit fast. My father's deals collapsed one by one. His carefully crafted reputation shattered. The business he bragged about for years began to crumble. Under the weight of his own lies, Liam, who once walked around like he owned the world, lost every privilege he flaunted. And my mother? She pulled away from everyone, drowning in embarrassment and guilt she never wanted to face. And me? I walked away, quietly, calmly, with my head held high. I found my own place, small, simple, peaceful. I got a job. I met new people. I learned to breathe without waiting for someone to tell me what to do. I started building a life that was finally mine. Months passed. Then one evening my phone rang. It was my mother. Her voice wasn't sharp or controlling anymore. It was soft, fragile, almost unfamiliar. "Aiden, your room is still here," she whispered. "You can come home." I closed my eyes. For years I had waited to hear those words. For years I would have said yes without thinking. But now I knew better. "I'm home already," I said gently. And I hung up. Not out of anger. Not out of revenge. But because it was the truth. Sometimes the place you walk away from is not your home. Sometimes the life you build from nothing is where you finally belong. If you're still listening, let me leave you with the lesson that changed my life. Family is not defined by blood. Family is defined by trust. Anyone can call themselves your parent, your sibling, your relative. But real family protects you, not uses you. Real family speaks truth, not lies. Real family lifts you up, not traps you inside their mistakes. For years, I blamed myself for not seeing the signs sooner, for not asking more questions, for believing every word they told me, for being too soft. But now I understand something I wish I learned earlier. Kindness is not weakness, trust is not stupidity, and believing in people is not a flaw. The flaw was theirs, for taking advantage of a heart that only ever wanted to love them. If you ever find yourself in a situation where someone, a friend, a partner, or even a parent, is using you, manipulating you, or treating you like you don't matter, remember this. You have the right to walk away. You have the right to choose yourself. You have the right to build a life where your voice is heard and your existence is respected. Leaving isn't betrayal. Leaving is survival. And sometimes, the strongest, bravest thing you can ever do is step out of the lie and walk toward the truth. My name is Aiden, and this is the story of how I escaped my family's lies and finally found my freedom.